Alright guys, welcome back to another update. Thank you guys for tuning in. Shout out to my members, shout out to my subscribers. Thank you guys for locking in with me. Yeah guys, let's get right back into it. We ain't gonna waste too much time. As you guys can see, East French Sudan, half of his provinces has been taken. I see here where Mendoza has made his way inside. So let's see how this war continues to transpire. Got a lot of moving parts. You got East French. He's bringing his ear, and I'm gonna analyze some of the strategy, guys, that I see. I'm gonna see where I see some mistakes at, where I think some of these things could have been done a little bit more tactful. Sometimes it's not always that you're being overran and this and that. Sometimes it's just bad strategy. Bad strategy. Now I will say in this situation, East French Sudan just is outnumbered. He's being squeezed by two major nations. I'm trying to close out this little area here, snatching this last province right here in the middle. So we're going to close all that out, and that puts me in a good position to mobilize my troops to the borders. So I'm in very good shape. I got my money in order. I got my energy rolling. 87K in oil and counting. I've got Castamanu out of there. Now he's Lorali's problem. Yeah, I had to get him out of there. Any questions, any concerns, by all means, leave it in the comments. Closing out a lot of these provinces with Jilin. And right now, guys, we're doing very well, but I will be honest and admit that we got to do even more, because we got a very, very, very strong enemy in Murcia. And, you know, a lot of people, when they play this game, they do well, but then they don't realize it's not about how well you're doing. It's about how well your enemy is doing. So if your enemy is doing very well, then that means you got to step your game up. So that's why I can't really relax in this game like I usually would, because there's a very strong opponent on this map. Okay. And so now, because I see that Eastern Cape and Murcia appears to have some kind of agreement in Africa, which is why they were able to team up against East French Sudan. So yes, I've stacked up enough troops, as you can see, and yes, I have made the decision that we will go ahead and invade Southern Africa. I tried to send Eastern Cape and a coalition invite, in which he did not agree to that. Let's make sure. I'm letting my team know to send spies if you're not physically close to any enemy, really, but probably especially Eastern Cape. He says Cape has many intelligent spies. And here go Oregon responding to what I was telling him about Southern Highland. He said, that makes sense, South Dutch. I was wondering why that guy hadn't been touched yet. I'm working towards that way, so I'll monitor the situation. He's talking about Southern Highland and what I told him in the last video about Southern Highland. So if you didn't catch that, that's in the last video. Okay, so let's keep it pushing. Just want to make sure you guys understand how me and my team have been communicating very well and having great dialogue. And you see South French, when I get home tonight, I will be moving my troops. So we're having great communication as a team, and that's very key to me. This is Karen's talking to Indochina about some land. This is how your team needs to communicate. All right, now let's read this, guys. This is where, as you can see, I'm speaking now personally with Lorali in the messages. Let's read this, guys. First, he says Murcia has a lot of spies in Altai. I say, okay, cool. He says, I have a theory that Murcia is going to help Kastamani, so you need to come help clear Turkey as fast as possible. My troops will be there in the day. Again, Lorali telling me what to do. Like, why can't you just handle your own business, Lorali? Why are you commanding me as if I'm your peasant or something, or I'm your soldier or something like that? I don't take orders from no. I mean, we can discuss some things, but we can help each other, but we shouldn't be ordering each other around. Am I right, guys, or am I tripping? Does this guy, is he very like demand? Have y'all noticed that, or is it just me? I mean, just very strange. So you need to come help clear Turkey as fast as possible. Man, I ain't got to do nothing. In fact, I'm not gonna do it. That's the way I roll. This guy talking like he Napoleon or somebody. Man, pipe down, Lorali. Now he getting on my nerves. Then he can put this. Here you go. Also, very important right now. Murcia has at least 100 fighters, and it will be much more when we fight him. So we need to produce as much as possible if we still want to rule the sky in battle. Okay, now let me explain this right here, guys. I find this split tongue. Ooh, boy, y'all, I can't even get there yet. I'm about to jump the gun, boy. This is where even me, I'm looking back at conversations and I'm realizing, wow, I see it now. I should have saw it a long time ago. And I kind of did, but now it's more crystal clear. Let's read this again, guys. And let me tell you what I get from it now. Also very important right now. Murcia has at least 100 fighters. Number one, how does Lorali know that? And even if he did, what is he doing? Are you monitoring Murcia that closely that you know how many fighters he got? And then hold up, this is where it gets even more interesting. And it will be much more when we fight him. How you know that? How do you know it's gonna be much more? How you know what the future holds for Murcia and what he gonna decide to do? Strange, ain't it? Y'all keep watching. That's why I told y'all these dialogues is gonna expose these scoundrels. Cause what they didn't know was I document everything. I document everything, baby. Very important information. You see what I wrote to him? Okay. All right. Now here go Mendoza. Let's see what we talking about. Remember, I had to sing to old Mendoza because when I do that, guys, that means I'm on to you. Here go Mendoza. I could have sent a 3,000 stack through, but everybody was like, hey, Cape and Murcia are going to join. Woo woo. I'm going on a suicide mission with 1,700 followed by another 900. You can have my land in Rios too. We are Audi 5,000. Quick question. This is where I stopped trusting Mendoza. Quick question, Mendoza. This is where something about this makes absolutely no sense. And this is where, if you're going to talk to the Supreme Master, you better know what you're talking about. And if you got some kind of game you're trying to run, you might as well just shut your mouth, because I'm going to read right through it. You should have just been silent. Let's read this again, guys. Let me show you what you made a miss in reading this. I could have sent a 3,000 stack through, but everybody was like, hey, Cape and Mercia are going to join. Who was saying that? Who was everybody that was saying that? And what the hell does that got to do with you sending enough soldiers over there to protect yourself and maybe actually make some kind of attempt to stop and help East French, some kind of attempt to help and really make some kind of statement in West Africa? Instead, you sending, now watch this, guys. Let me show you how you catch these guys. I'm going on a suicide mission. Why are you going on a suicide mission versus an intelligent mission? Why is it a suicide mission? Why are you not using the intelligence that you have, Mendoza? And why would anybody want a player like you on the team when you see somebody who you're supposed to be helping, East French Sudan, you see him under the gun? Why wouldn't you try to be a little bit more tactful? No, you let your men get slaughtered. You put up a very weak fight, and I'm gonna give something. I'm gonna help Eastern Cape out for a second. I believe Eastern Cape is actually a great player. Or should I say a good player? I ain't gonna say great. He's a good player. If he was great, he would have joined our coalition. He's a decent player. But I think the problem he had was he wants to join the number 3 player in the world. And I think that enticed Eastern Cape to make that decision. However, what I think Eastern Cape failed to understand is that Mercia is not the number 3 player in the world for no reason. And you got to understand that the way Mendoza is conducting himself, don't you realize Mendoza, pay attention to this map. Mendoza, I'm on to you. Eastern Cape, pay attention if you're listening to this and if you're watching this. Did you notice that Mendoza's main focus was Eastern Cape and not Mercia? Did anybody notice that? I'm going to give y'all a moment to think about that. They don't call me the Supreme Master for no reason. I told y'all, we're going to break this thing down. Did you notice, Eastern Cape, that when he came, now watch when he come with this whole suicide mission, his whole suicide mission was aimed towards Eastern Cape. But some things happened that changed the plans a little bit. Mercia's goal was to try to use Mendoza as a feeder multi-account to hurt Eastern Cape and try to take over that land, but it did not work. If you notice, Mendoza rarely attacks any of Mercia provinces, and his whole direction and whole aim was towards Eastern Cape. Now, I could be wrong, but let's see what the map shows. And now look at what he says here. You can have my land and Rios too. We are Audi. First of all, why is he speaking for another nation? In this game, you're supposed to only be able to speak for yourself. How is he able to say I'm going to be Audi, me and Rios? How? Are you controlling both accounts? Mr. Mendoza, explain that. How can you say you and Rios are out and that I can have your land? Sounds good. Sounds real good. Let's see if you really mean I can have your land or you just running your big mouth, Mendoza, because you think you're slick. I'm already on to you. And look, me being silly, right? You talking about I can have his land, right? Oh, wow, really? Thank you. I sure will take it. I sure will take it if you gonna give it up. You're lying behind. That's why you don't believe these liars on this game. Look at his suicide mission. Who he headed towards? Who he headed towards? Do you see him taking any kind of approach towards Mercia? No. He want to do a suicide mission on Eastern Cape. Because Eastern Cape ain't a part of his little team. Mm-hmm. Eastern Cape don't even realize my coalition saved him from being annihilated. He just don't realize it yet, but he's going to see that as this thing unfolds. He was being used like a pawn. So now I'm sending troops towards South America because Mendoza said I can have it. Then he gonna say, save my capital in the South until my troops are dead, please. He talking that dumb mess. He know I'm about at least a week away from being anywhere near South America. So why is he already talking like this is happening right now? That's called manipulation, guys. Just pay attention though. These are the type of people that think everybody's so stupid but them. But by doing all of that, he exposes himself that his intentions ain't right. And then he gonna try to cry like somebody done something to him. Man, they done this to me again. Y'all gonna see, man. Those is a trip. And one thing I want to say, guys, I gave Betro a bad name for a moment. I thought Betro was up to some stuff. I'm talking about the game, talking about the whole game. I'm talking about I thought they was having some cheaters as far as some of the what they call them, some of the developers and whatnot. But I had to take that back, and I gotta admit when I'm wrong. I don't think it had nothing to do with Betro or Betro as a company or anything like that or any of the developers. I was right from the get-go when I told you guys about subscribing saboteurs and things of that nature. I got them, y'all. I got them. Y'all stay tuned. I got them. Ain't no way out. I got them. Ain't no way they getting out of it. So as you can see, East French is holding on to a thread. You got Murcia pushing in, but you got Mendoza down here. All he's gonna do is focus on coming at East French. I mean at Eastern Cape. He ain't gonna worry about nobody else. He definitely not gonna go over there and bother Murcia, who he needs to be going after. Alright, so we know what's happening here. We sending some troops that way. Now listen to this. Watch this, guys. He said, save my capital in the south until my troops are dead, please. I said, I got you, bro. Then here you go. I was going to give my land to Rio. He just sent all his troops to the sea. What kind? You just said y'all both were about to quit and give me the land. Now you're saying you was going to give your land to Rio. You said you were going to give your land to me. And now he just sent all his troops to the sea. But both of y'all, but you just said both of y'all were quitting. Why send them to the sea? Why not send them to West Africa to help you out? Or towards Murcia somewhere. Why send them to the sea to just die? Oh, okay, so Mendoza, you're going to take over all of Rio's land because he just moved to the sea. So that gives you more of a reason to stay in the game now, that's what I'm guessing. Sound just like a multi-account. Guys, you can't make this up. This is the dialogue. I can't make this stuff up. I told y'all I'm gonna expose these guys. Now I'm like, why are you guys quitting? If you own South America, you're doing great. You played the game up to this point. Why would you quit? Because you're lying. You're lying, Mendoza. And you don't know you're lying to the right one. I know some of y'all saw my other videos, some of my other maps, and you thought I was making this stuff up. Or sometimes you may say, Supreme Master, you right, but I need a little bit more evidence. Well, this is gonna be the one that's gonna shut the front door. We don't need no more evidence, no more nothing. This is it. Trust me. I might even take a break. I'm gonna have to take a break after this map, y'all. This one right here, whew, this one took a lot out of me. I'm not gonna lie. Now listen to this on why he's quitting. I don't know. I'm tired of the map, to be honest. Sahara was cool and Sudan was alright, but everyone else takes the fun out the game. The politics and greedy. What is Mendoza talking about? This how I know he's lying. Like, what are you talking about? I'm just trying to pick his brain right now. Okay, he responded again before I could finish my comment. Colombia won't expand, but every time I send troops to expand, he races me to the same spot and wastes weeks of time just moving troops back and forth. Then Rio said he was going to Cape and Murcia on board with us. Da, 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 da. They kept changing. I'm going to hit Cape with my whole army for being stuck up. You notice what I said, guy. He ain't saying nothing about Murcia. He say Cape is stuck up. That's why he gonna send all his army to Cape. No, you're lying, Mendoza. You're going to send your army to Cape because you're trying to weaken Cape up so that Murcia can come on in and take that land and be good to go. That's what you're doing. And you're playing the role of a snaky scoundrel. That's what you're doing. You know good and well what you're doing for Murcia. Nothing you are doing makes sense. Why would you be trying to go at Eastern Cape so bad versus going after Murcia, the #1 player on the map who we're at war with? Because you're a liar, Mendoza. You're part of Murcia's little gang, and we're gonna expose you. We're gonna stomp your head in too. You all gonna see. You're gonna be crying in a minute. Watch. Let me see how that. So look. So now the problem that I'm having with Mendoza is now Mendoza is giving out intel. So that's how they're gonna know they're gonna know our every move. Y'all watch how Murcia and Eastern Cape, they're gonna know our every move, and they're gonna counteract those moves. All because I didn't realize we got these subscribing saboteurs and these weak spies that are already in our coalition. I'm gonna show you how they did it. Y'all remember when the game started, I had a whole bunch of people coming to me saying, hey, I love the channel. I want to play with you. I love the channel. Well, now I'm going to show you these were the subscribing saboteurs. Not all, not everybody, but many were. And I allowed them to join, and I tried to help them. I tried to join forces, this and that. And now I see I was blinded by the admiration of the channel, or so they thought I was. And I befriended some of the enemies that I knew were out there already. What they didn't know was I keep my eye out for it, because I know you're out there. So the problem is, by me talking to Mendoza about some of my future plans, it gave South Africa, it gave Eastern Cape, and it gave Murcia time to prepare for that. You gotta remember, Eastern Cape is being used as a pawn. And we all remember what happened with Southern Highlands up there. So I gave the word to Oregon, and Oregon is already on that mission to take care of that situation. It's not going to happen overnight, but at least Oregon is aware of what's going on with Southern Highland. Southern Highland is definitely a multi-account of Murcia. He moved all of his troops out of this area and just let Murcia take over it. So we're not going to let that, we're not going to sweep that under the rug. We're going to keep our eye on that. Mm-hmm. And there you go. That explains why that looks real crazy right here. So yes, we're going to make our way to Eastern Cape because Eastern Cape has weakened himself to a degree, but at the same time, I was not aware of the fact that I had some serious spies that were giving out important. See how he's already moving stuff in place? Eastern Cape? That's because somebody didn't inform him. Oh yeah, he's been informed. That's for sure. what should have been somewhat of a sneak attack has already been spotted. Got to know how to read the map, guys. You got to know how to read the map. But yes, we are on our way to Southern Africa. And we're going to land in there and we're going to do what we need to do. All right, now here go Eastern Cape. He said, "Why are you moving troops to my border?" This is what Eastern Cape is asking me. Eastern Cape is saying, "Why are you moving troops to my border?" Because I'm about to attack you. Why do you think? You're in cahoots with an enemy of mine. You refuse to join my coalition. What else are we supposed to do? Sit there and be buddies? For what? You've made your decision. Talking about why I'm getting close to your borders. Cause you're weak at that border and you've made a decision to not join forces with me and my team. And you decided to join forces with the #1 player on the map, #3 player in the world. I think you felt more confident over there. So, hey, you didn't want to join the Supreme Master, which is fine. Yet, when you first got on the game, you said you wanted to join me. So I think you made it, in my opinion, I think it was a coward move. But it's okay. You know, everybody wants to join the guy that seems to be on top, I guess. All right, guys, so we're going to leave it at that. Y'all stay tuned. The war with South Africa and Eastern Cape and Murcia is about to kick off, and this thing is going to get real nasty and ugly. All right, so y'all don't want to miss this. Stay tuned, and we'll be right back at you.